if you want people to trust you, if you want to be valued as a person of integrity, and if you want others to seek your friendship, believe in yourself in your business, be discreet in love, war, and friendship. The important thing is the strategy. The best antidote to suffering is love, and I usually divide it into 5 great loves. The first is self-love. This is self-esteem, knowing how to treat oneself, speaking well to oneself, healing past wounds, and having our inner voice accompany us in our goals and life's objectives. The second is love for another person. As Plato well said, "There is no coward so craven that love cannot make brave and transform into a hero." Falling in love is the greatest thing there is. Everything changes when a heart feels captivated by another person. Deep within us lie wonders and treasures that reveal themselves when one truly desires. There is no human being whom love has not transformed into someone more passionate and full of life. Falling in love marks a person forever, and the most intense feelings in life are felt through love. The third love that heals us is a precious love. Love for others, solidarity, volunteering, and giving to others are protective factors for the mind and body. Oxytocin is the hormone released when you truly care for others, and oxytocin enhances the immune system. Cortisol, on the other hand, is the hormone released in times of stress, pain, and loneliness, and it alters and deteriorates our immune system. While we have this protective oxytocin that is activated when we are capable of caring for others, in many cases, certain people in your environment bother you, and their mere presence makes you feel uneasy. If you don't change, you run the risk of them becoming toxic beings. The toxicity itself isn't toxic. It's the effect it has on you. In this love for others, I'm going to give you some tips that can help you improve your relationships with friends, co-workers, and family, and also help you realize if there are any characteristics you haven't fostered or find difficult to maintain. You'll understand why some people in your environment are more bothersome, probably because they don't share some of these characteristics. First, you have to show interest in people. I know many people who say, "I don't like people. People bore me. They don't bring anything to me." That doesn't help. When you transmit to others that you don't care, that you're bored, you become a more solitary being, you intoxicate yourself with cortisol, and that distances you from the solidarity and healthy love towards others that is so important. The second advice I'm going to give you is something I learned from my father and has helped me a lot throughout my life. Make an effort to remember important details. Not everyone is lucky enough to have a great memory for names and facts. Most people don't remember much information, like the names of their friends' children, where they work, and some important details about others' lives. It's been a while since you've seen someone and you meet them on the street, and suddenly you remember the name of their wife, or you ask about their son or mother, or you remember that there was a relative who was ill. That person feels important. There's an oxytocin boost, but there's a click, a wonderful connection that arises between the two. David Rockefeller, the famous David Rockefeller, had a private file of cards with over 100,000 names in it, where he kept information about the encounters he had with people. This information helped him generate familiarity, making everyone he met feel important and special. I also learned this from my father, who has a habit of jotting down everything about the people he meets. Recently, while searching for a number in his phone at a restaurant, I came across this information. Pepe, the owner, married to Ana, has 3 children. They are worried about the youngest because he hasn't finished his studies. His father passed away. A few months ago, the older waiter, who has been working there all his life and has lupus, was diagnosed with lung cancer. Every time my father goes to that restaurant, he asks about those relatives, how they're doing, how the treatment is going, and one feels much better. I recommend that you make an effort in a society where the hippocampus, where we store our memories, is very deteriorated because of screens and stress. I encourage you to remember, to make an effort to keep people and data in your mind. Third, delve into their lives, their hobbies, and their professions, and I especially recommend this if you are in the professional world. I know there is LinkedIn and many technological applications to help you remember professional information about others, but seek information about people who interest you if you want to surprise your friends. Get informed. If you want to bring joy to someone's life and your family, focus on their current interests. This requires time and effort. Calling others to avoid losing contact is very rewarding with very little effort. Don't be afraid to personalize the details you have with people. Fourth, avoid judging. Every person is different. Humans tend to judge, analyze, and categorize people as soon as we meet them. We like to label everything. This comes from our belief system, where certain traits of personality, way of being, or dressing of the person in front of us directly activate zones of our thoughts, and we label them in one way or another. It can be a defense mechanism, simply an automatism of the mind not to alter our interior. In very critical people, there may be a constant need to feel superior, or, on the contrary, a problem of insecurity or lack of self-esteem. Talking to a patient for months, I suggested not to criticize with his friends to the rest of his friends. His response was, "Then what are we going to talk about?" I said to him at that moment, "You will have to start talking from the positive about people." With an astonished face, he said, "I don't know how to do that. If you find this tip interesting, I'll give you a trick. Accept others as they are, even if they are different from us or what we see or fits us. And that doesn't mean we ignore reality. There are people who behave badly or differently, or it is convenient to separate from them because they are toxic to us. But otherwise, it is healthy to have a plural, rich, open mind and admit that there are people who do not fully fit our criteria. We must avoid closing ourselves off abruptly to everything different. If you only accept people who have a certain level of education, social or cultural background, if you have a dislike for fans of a certain football team, even though I'm very fond of football, or a profession or guild, if you systematically reject those from a certain region, country, or continent, surely your ability to understand the world and yourself will be more limited, and you will be missing out on many nuances that make our world rich and diverse. Fifth, don't impose your criteria, beliefs, or values. This is important, especially if you are a parent, for example. Work on being a role model for your children, employees, or friends, but if you seek to impose, you will find rejection. Nowadays, we know that demanding parents who impose without measure create rebellious children who seek the opposite. Limits are necessary, and people not respecting our ideas or beliefs is crucial, but without reaching hardness or aggressiveness. Society needs not only teachers, but leaders. A leader is an example of life where coherence in solid values, modernity, knowing that this person is authentic and coherent blend. Therefore, if you want to influence someone, if you want to convey your ideals, learn to be a good example. Sixth, ensure and leverage common interests. Good friendships and relationships arise when there are common interests, values, and hobbies. Look for them. It's rare there isn't something that ties you to the most remote person, from the pediatrician, from your child to your insurance agent or the carpenter who helps you. When something goes wrong, you'll be surprised to realize that when you dedicate time to what is not solely the rational part, you're taking an impressive step in your life. I work a lot in the business world, and often I tell department heads to find common ground with people on their team. Many times they say, "We have nothing in common. It's impossible." Even if it's about raising children, traveling, sports like cycling, art, culture, or TV series. Find a topic of conversation. Human relationships need to be worked on and nurtured. They make you a superior being. 7. Smile. There is an easy way to connect. Use a touch of humor. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes that humor can be hurtful to others, but try to smile, try to laugh. We know nowadays there are wonderful studies that happy people, people who smile and make an effort to smile, improve their performance at work. We know that when we smile, we activate the orbicularis oculi muscle, the Duchenne smile, which was discovered by him, and the limbic system is activated. Even if that smile is forced, something already happens in the brain, and thus it becomes genuine. The changes are spectacular. Laughter and smiling have the ability to alter the chemistry of the bloodstream, protecting against some diseases and infections. 8. Help. Many times I set solidarity as a guideline in my practice. If you have the opportunity, don't miss the chance to do something for others. It's not about keeping track of favors or how you've helped others. Few things generate greater satisfaction than being able to help others in something within our reach. I'm lucky that in my practice, I listen to so many lives that sometimes someone tells me they are looking for a job and leaves me their resume. A few days later at a dinner, someone tells me they are looking for someone with a certain profile, and I remember this patient who left the resume. These things generate a wonderful satisfaction. Sometimes it's difficult for us because it makes us feel vulnerable when we get involved in the lives of others. Give without expecting anything in return, logically without falling into excessive heroism. Additionally, it can mean a bridge to other people. Life takes many turns, and it may surprise you. 9. Speak well of others. Don't criticize. I insist a lot on this topic. Speak well of the good things. Keep a neutral position with the bad ones. It's necessary to seriously protect conversations where criticism or negative judgments are always generated. How many times do we appreciate it when at a dinner or gathering among friends, someone stops a criticism, a negative conversation about others? Speaking ill of others induces a toxic emotional state in our bodies, full of cortisol, and we know the risks that this entails. Criticism is almost an international sport, and we are too accustomed to it being part of our lives. If you want people to trust you, if you want to be valued as a person of integrity, and if you want others to seek your friendship, believe in yourself or in your business. Be discreet. In love, war, and friendship, the important thing is strategy. This phrase is not mine. It's Napoleon's. Don't be afraid of a pencil and a sheet of paper, a four-color pen like I prefer, a marker, or a whiteboard. Write, cross out, draw arrows. In short, make a plan. If you have to reconquer someone, if you have to rebuild a broken friendship or a family situation, don't be afraid to have a plan. You'll be surprised by the people you know, and you'll find past experiences that are useful. And if you need to work on a skill because you find it difficult, read, get informed, or ask for help. 11. Try to be kind. It's more important than you can imagine. Kindness transforms our bodies and the bodies of the people close to us. What the world needs is oxytocin, and this hormone plays a fundamental role in human relationships. It is responsible for childbirth and for breastfeeding, however, holds immense value in human relationships. If you are kind, if you are with someone you care about and put your phone aside, look them in the eyes, smile when needed, you'll feel much better, and so will the other person. We've just finished discussing love for others. We've gone through self-love, self-esteem, love for a partner, love for others, and the fourth love that sustains us in times of pain and suffering is love for ideals and beliefs. As Ortega y Gasset said, ideas, beliefs, that's where everything lies. We all know people or have read stories or biographies of individuals who survived the worst circumstances because of the love they professed for their ideals. Nelson Mandela, Thomas More in the Tower of London with his beliefs, or even Maximilian Kolbe giving his life in exchange for a father of a family in the Auschwitz concentration camp. Viktor Frankl is a master in many aspects. If you haven't read his book, Man's Search for Meaning, I recommend it. He lived and deeply analyzed mass psychopathology during World War II. He insisted on an idea. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing. The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. With this, one can design their own destiny. That inner freedom, which cannot be taken away from us, allows us to find meaning in our lives regardless of the circumstances. Even in the concentration camps during World War II, there were people who, holding on to that inner freedom, managed to rise above the atrocities around them. Viktor Frankl was unaware of the biochemical part of hope, passion, and resilience, but he observed that when someone had memories or ideals to hold on to, that person had the capacity to survive physically and psychologically any type of trauma. Having ideals, holding pleasant memories of our lives to turn to when circumstances oppress us, can be an important reinforcement to face future problems. It's good for our value system to be the compass of our lives, guiding our actions. A person who has clear ideas, who finds their sense of life, is stronger when bad things happen, stronger when suffering takes over, or when trauma opens within them. As Einstein said, care more about your conscience than your reputation. Conscience is who you are, reputation is what others think you are. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the big questions to find your system of beliefs or ideals that can help you in times of pain or suffering. And finally, the last love that helps us overcome is a very curious love. But when I realized it existed, I was passionate about it and investigated it. This is love for memories. Voltaire said, "There are moments in life whose memories are enough to erase years of suffering." It surprises you that love for a memory can alleviate pain. Continuing with Viktor Frankl, he observed that there were people who died a few days after arriving, regardless of their physical condition, and others who endured long periods of time. Apparently, those who endured were not stronger than those who fell earlier. His own experience in the extermination camp confirmed once again the theory of logotherapy he had been studying since before the war. People whose lives have meaning tolerate the suffering of Auschwitz better. How can we interpret all this that Viktor Frankl tells us in modern life? Well, people who find a purpose, an objective, a meaning, have more reasons to be happy. How many people don't find reasons to get up every morning if they don't have constant thoughts and memories related to people they love, special moments, or dreams to live for? It will be more joyful and happier. Be careful. It doesn't always come naturally, and often you have to fight for it. There's an example I use a lot with many: frequency. When sometimes at a dinner or with friends, I perceive tension in the couple just asking them, "How did you meet? How did your partner win you over?" Despite the bad mood and accumulated tension, the act of recalling joyful events from the past manages to change, at least momentarily, the emotional tone of the speaker. That's why many relaxation techniques or stress and trauma healing methods have what we call a safe place in the mind, and sensation, a memory, an image that brings us peace just by evoking it in our mind. One of the most important researchers in love for memories is Sumito Nuwaka, a Japanese molecular biologist who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1987. In 1990, he abruptly changed his field of study and focused deeply on the molecular basis of memory formation and retrieval. His research, published in the journal Nature in 2017, suggests that recalling past events has a positive effect on mood because it triggers the reward system and activates the motivation system. In other words, bringing positive experiences from the past to mind serves as a potent antidote against depression and other mood disorders. Memories have a healing power, sometimes even greater than the positive experiences themselves.